Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerTube, and welcome back to our Poppy Playtime character concept series. So in today's video, the character looking into is the Spider Hug. So we'll go into this character's location, gameplay mechanics, backstory, and all that good stuff as well. As always, I will just say that this isn't necessarily into the overall universe and lore of Poppy Playtime. This is just a fun what if scenario and a cool creepy story we get to tell, and we hope you enjoy. Also, this is not exactly what I am predicting to happen to the character of Huggy Wuggy or Mummy Longlegs. This is just a fun idea that I thought would be pretty cool to share. And lastly, do be sure to subscribe to GamerTube as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. It also keeps you up to date with all the videos that we post. Alrighty everyone, well let's get into the character concept of the Spider Hug. So previously in our last videos, our main protagonist has come up against some strange and bizarre characters. Some have desperately tried to destroy them, and others have lent a helping hand. But now, as they wander through the factory, they find themselves in yet another strange and bizarre area. And this new area is the laboratory. A dark and cold looking place that looked very unwelcoming. The player finds himself in this area after they accidentally fell through the floor. Now they're stuck in this subterranean area and need to find a way out. But what on earth was this place? It was quite different to all the other locations at the factory. There were no goofy and funny looking machines, just cold and empty concrete hallways. The further the player explores through this place, the stranger things get. They come across a number of small experimental labs filled with strange items. It seems down here the researchers have been experimenting on all kinds of toys. But these days there isn't a researcher or a scientist to be found. All throughout the halls are large scratch marks. These scratch marks look all too familiar. As they explore some more, they come across an operating room. They can see all throughout the room are clumps of blue fur scattered around. This blue fur can only belong to one toy in particular, and our main protagonist hopes this isn't true. They can also see pink plastic parts all on the floor as well. What on earth are they making here? Is this a result of 1006 twisted experiments? Or maybe this was the reason they were going around and collecting bodies. Maybe they were trying to make something much worse. Whatever it was, the player didn't want to stick around to find out. As they exit this room, they now find themselves in a long and winding maze of doorways and corridors. It seemed that this place went on forever. If they weren't careful, they could well and truly get lost here. But surely the exit to this place was at the end of this maze. Whilst making their way through, they come across something that could be quite helpful. It was yet another attachment for their GrabPack. This one was called the Spray Marker. It would snap onto their GrabPack and allow the user to mark anything they wanted. They could spray the paint on any surface and draw whatever shape they pleased. This would be helpful in tracking where they were so they wouldn't get lost. So they continue through this maze area and mark each wall as they travel through. The player can't help but feel like something is here with them. It feels like this whole time they've been followed. And before they know it, their suspicions were correct. Out of one of the hallways stepped out a monstrosity of a creature. It looked to be a grotesque mixture of Huggy Wuggy and Mummy Longlegs. Was this what experiment 1006 made with their deceased bodies? Regardless, this disturbing creature would be known as the Spider Hug. The player quickly turns around and runs the other way. They need to find another way out, before they're devoured by the Spider Hug creature. So now throughout this maze, Spider Hug will always be on the move chasing the player. They have to be careful not to run into the creature. And they also need to spray the walls and keep track of where they've been. Not too far behind them, they can hear Spider Hug rushing through the corridors. After making their way through this maze, the player finally makes it to the end. But unfortunately, the exit door has been blocked by 3 large metal bars. Each bar is activated by a GrabPack switch. But with the speed that Spider Hug is moving at, they only have enough time to activate one at a time. If they took too long activating the switches, then Spider Hug would catch up to them, and they would meet an unfortunate end. So once they've activated one of the switches, they would need to loop back around and activate the next one. All while the murderous Spider Hug still pursues them. They would need to get enough distance when they loop around in order to avoid getting attacked. They've activated the second switch and now they only have one left. But unlucky for the player, Spider Hug would only get faster and faster. With the help of Mummy's arms, they would be able to push themselves off the walls and move with much more speed. The player finally does their third and final loop and activates the final GrabPack switch. The door opens as they rush through. Spider Hug is right on their tail as they exit the maze as well. The player now finds themselves in a wide open area. They need to take on Spider Hug themselves if they want to make it out of here alive. The player notices that Huggy's eyes have been replaced with 2 robotic lenses. Maybe if they spray them with the spray marker, then they can temporarily blind them. If those lenses were covered with paint, then they could give the player enough time to get away. So the player needs to get close enough in order to spray Spider Hug in the eyes. But they need to be careful not to get too close or they'll get attacked. After maneuvering around the creature, they finally spray them in the face. It worked. Spider Hug was blinded as they madly waved their arms around trying to catch the player. While the player has time, they made it towards an emergency vent that they could escape through. They hopped in and made a break for it. But Spider Hug was hot on their tail. They chased the player throughout the vents as they tried to capture them. The player desperately moves through the vent to get to the end. They move around all the twists and turns as they desperately need to outrun Spider Hug. Once again, with the help of Mummy's arms, Spider can move even quicker than he did last time through the vents. The player can see the exit as they launch themselves out. Finally, they were out of those vents. They quickly lock the hatch door on Spider Hug and they make their exit. The hatch door won't hold them forever, but at least it would be enough time to get away safely as the player runs to the next area. Now I think something like Spider Hug would be an awesome addition to see to Poppy Playtime. It would be really fun to see Huggy return once again, and also interesting to see what Experiment 1006 did with all the body remains of Mummy Longlegs. But as to if we see something like Spider Hug or anything else like this character, I think it would be cool to see a massive amalgamation of all the past toys in some creepy creature like this one. But before then, we'll just have to wait and see what Mob Games does next with Chapter 3. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, do be sure to comment down below what you thought of the Spider Hug and what you'd like to see going forward. Alrighty everyone, well, to the next Poppy Playtime character concept video, I'll catch you later, bye.